So in this video, we are back at it again with part 3 of our restaurant landing page. Today, we are going to be working on the events section. So in the last video, we finished up making the menu section. And now we're going to be building this lovely little events area that kind of shows our little events for our restaurant here. So we got a little pizza night, we got a spaghetti night, and then we got a little food eat-off down here. So we just got our little pictures, our heading, and then a short description, all contained in some nice little responsive boxes here. So as you can see, they're completely responsive. We can make the page phone sized here. And we can go right from our menu to our events page, like so. And we also have this little kind of darkening effect to black to separate each section. And then it sort of lightens up and we can see the bricks once more as we get to the bottom of it. So anyway, let's get started whipping that up, shall we? So back in VS Code here, we are looking at our index.html file here. And we're going to close up the restaurant section for now here. So we're just going to close up. We're all done with that. And I like to comment my code very nicely here. So we're just going to label the menu section, the HTML, and then we're also going to put a little comment at the end of it saying end. So that's for the menu section. So we're going to wrap that up so we can see it. And then we'll just make our events section here. So that's just going to be another section with an ID, this time of events. So we have our lovely little section tag there. And we can start writing down some events. So to make this nice and responsive, we're going to need to put these events into a sort of a little box. So let's start by making our little title there, our events title. So I'll make a div and we'll give this a class of events section title. And that will be the events section title labeled our events. So with that, we would like to change that div actually to an H1. It makes a little more sense. And right underneath that H1 tag, we'll start putting our cards here. So this is going to be a div. And we'll give it a class event cards. And within our first event card, let's see, we'll just make this, we'll give it a class of event card. So just singular event card. So we have our event cards, which is going to be our container for event card. So the event cards container is going to hold each event card, if that makes sense. So we have our event card div. Now this is going to be built of a few parts. The image at the top, an H2, page break, and then the description, which is just going to be paragraph tags. So we'll start off with the image. Say image src, and I've already got some nice images of pizza and spaghetti saved up here. So let me just find those. Copy in the first one, which is going to be, I believe, a pizza. So let's get that in there. We have our image source, and then we'll just close that. We'll just close that tag right up, and then right underneath it, we'll put our H2, which is just going to be kind of the title for each event card here. We don't really need to give this any special class. And we're just going to say all you can eat pizza. And right under that, we'll just put a little page break here. And right under that, in our p tag, we'll write our description. We want these to be on a new line, so we're going to start another paragraph tag right underneath it. And let's see, when is the pizza event? The 21st. So you don't have much time. So join us April 21st for all you can eat pizza. And let's go ahead and save that. And then we'll open our live server here. Just kind of see what this looks like here. So let's pull this down here. All right, so back on our page. So we scroll down, and right under the menu, we can see our image and our H2 and paragraph tags are showing up here. But it looks just terrible. Just terrible. So we'll go ahead and start cleaning that up in just a second. But first, what we are going to do first is we're just going to make the rest of our event boxes pretty much. So we have our event cards container that holds each event card. So one fun little trick that we can do to save a little time is to just copy and paste each event card that we have made and just change the picture, because they're all pretty much the same. So we'll go grab that picture of spaghetti that I've got here. And we'll make our second card. So this is going to be Mom's Spaghetti Night. Don't want to miss that. I think that'll be a few days later. I think that'll be on the 24th. All you can eat spaghetti. Gotta be perfect here. And then for our last image, I wasn't quite sure what to call this. Maybe a taco night. Anything's better than a all you can eat food off. It's a little uncreative. So yeah, I think we'll call this last one Taco Night. Taco Night Extravaganza. We'll call it that. And I think this will be on the 29th. And there we go. So we have all our event cards made. So if we check out our page here, we have all our event cards. Now we just got to make them look nice. We got to make them a little smaller and responsive. And then we have to put that little brick background. So let's finish up our section tag here. So this is pretty much all we've got for this area. That's it for the HTML. So we're going to say end events section in a comment there. And then we're going to jump right over here to our CSS. And we're going to start working on the events. So the first thing we want to do is we want to target the events section here using the ID. And we're going to give this a few properties. To align all the text, center to start us off, and then we're also going to set the minimum height to the viewport height there, which is going to be 100 BH. So we want to take up the full height, and we're going to set the properties for our brick background here. So we want to find background size, make that cover. Pretty much just like the section right above this that we worked on before, the menu section. We're going to say background repeat, no repeat. And then we're going to say, for our background, we're going to give it that nice linear gradient that we had. But this time, we're going to sort of do it in reverse. Because instead of going from light to dark, we'll go from dark to light. So you'll see the lovely effect that we end up with. So we'll create our RGBA value here of 0, 0, 0, 0 0.999. So we want it almost completely black, but not quite. And then we're going to have this color fade slowly down into a 0.623 or whatever. It could be a 0.6, but we'll make a nice random number there. So there we go. And then we'll have to link the URL of the picture we want to use, which in this case is just going to be bricks. There we go. So there's our picture. And we'll close that up. So that'll give us our little brick picture behind there, and we might be able to see what that looks like so far. Yeah. So as you can see, the linear gradient works good. It goes from dark to light pretty much. Pretty much the effect that we're going for there. All right, so we'll just go down right underneath the events section ID. We'll target our event cards here. And for these little guys, this is going to be the container for the event cards. So for this, we're going to set a padding of 5 rem, and then margin auto. We're going to set the width to not 100%, but 90%, so almost full width here. We're going to make this the flex container, so we're going to give it a display property of flex. And we're going to align our items both horizontally and vertically centered. And then lastly, we're going to set a flex wrap. Let's see, no wrap. All right, so that'll pretty much fix up our event cards container here. So then after that, we'll just target the event card class. So this is each child element. And we're going to go ahead and give these a minimum height of, let's say, 30 rem. So a little minimum height there. And give them a margin because we want some margin around each box here. So 3 rem margin. And then the width we're going to set to, we're not going to give it a percentage width. We're actually going to say fit content. So however big the content is, that's the minimum that we want the width to be. Make sure our text color is white there. For the background, we're actually going to set a background color here of RGBA. Almost black again. And let's see, I think I'm going to go with the 6, 0.6. Actually, let's make it 0.8. So almost see-through, not quite. Then we'll finish that, and we'll give them a tiny little border here. I'm thinking 1 pix solid white. That'll make them pop a little bit. And then we're going to use that backdrop filter that we used on the menu to give it that slight little blur. So you're not going to be able to see through them too much. But for what you can see through, it'll be blurred by 5 pix here. Yep, so we want to blur that backdrop filter, blur 5 pix. There we go. And let's go ahead and target the event card image next, because that's important. Right now, those are massive. So we'll say event card, IMG, and we'll just set the width. That should fix them up. A width of, let's see, 25 rem. That should get us fixed up a little bit. Let's see where we're at so far. Alrighty, so as we can see, we have our event cards there. We got our nice white text. The pictures are fitting inside each box fine. Although we are not responsive at all yet. So as we can see, there are no changes when we change the size of the window. So let's get that fixed up. So let's see, let's work on the events section title. I notice I can't quite see that. Let's get that out here. We're going to set the background color. We're going to set it to another one of these very dark values. Maybe not 0.8, actually maybe 0.2. So you can pretty much see through this one. That's not going to matter too much because of how dark the background is going to be right there. And I'd like to just give it a little border top and a border on the bottom. To match our event cards, one pick solid white. So add border bottom too, one pick solid white. And I noticed I'm not, a couple of these sometimes I'm using the hex code for white, sometimes I'm typing out white. I would say in your code, best practice is to use, pick one standard and use it. So as you can see here, sometimes I type out white, and sometimes if we go up a little bit, I've typed out the hex code value here. So anyway, it is good practice to fix that up. And preferably just use the hex code for all of them, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, we'll set the backdrop filter here to the usual blur 5 pixels. And we'll set a little bit of padding here, 3 rem. We'll make sure our text color is white. And then we'll give it a little text shadow, similar to what we did with the main text, the hero text. Let's see if I can find what properties I used for that text. Let's see. All right, I can't see exactly. Oh, here we go. We'll just find that text shadow property and just copy that right over, like so. So that's the text shadow that we're going to use for that. Anyway, so let's see what that looks like. And there we go. So as we can see, we have our events text right here, and we have our event cards that will now wrap. And as you resize your window, make it smaller and smaller, or they pretty much just go from a horizontal to vertical positioning. So anyway, that is it for the events area. Anyway, so that's it for today. Catch me in the next video where we do part 4, making a reservation area with a map and a form. So that should be pretty interesting. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, drop a comment if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.